Hello and welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where we love to educate and inspire the community to live more healthily, feel more balanced and truly live a lifestyle they love. And today for our first guest we have Dr. Zara Celik, integrative health and wellbeing expert. And once again she's back with us, this time talking about skin health, so caring for your skin. So Dr. Zara, over to you. Why is that important?
Yeah, sure. So skin is actually the biggest organ, right? And we want to make sure the skin is breathing and it is clean and it is functioning at its optimum level. So what do I mean by that? Skin has a huge role, not in terms of breathing and exchanging a part of the detox, but it is also a mirror reflection of how internal organs are doing and how they are functioning. So it gives us an insight in terms of what is also happening internally in terms of our health and well-being. Now today though, I'd like to talk more about taking care of our skin and how we can, by taking care of our skin, how we can also support our health and well-being and support also the detoxification system, because skin is very much involved with the detoxification system as well. So cleaning the skin and getting rid of dead skin cells, which can clog up our skin pores, is number one. That's where I will begin. Why? Because now, people know about, when we talk about caring for the skin, usually people think about the face, right? So I want people to know, let's go and think whole body when it comes to skin health. And when it comes to taking care of the skin, let's focus on, and something a lot of people don't usually do, is exfoliating and removing the dead skin cells. Because normally now in the modern life, we have the whole cleansing, the products going, which is amazing. But let's go also to ancient wisdom and ancient rituals and bring that to our rituals daily. So then that way we can take care of our skin holistically and optimize the health of the skin as well. And by optimizing the skin health, yes, skin is glowing, it is healthy, it is radiant, but it's also functioning and supporting our internal organs. Because as I said, skin is involved heavily in the detoxification system, because the skin pores help to flush out toxins through perspiration, through the sweating mechanism that the body does naturally, right? So it is then in that case important that we have a clean skin where the pores are not clogged up. And the best way to achieve that, I find, Linda, is through an ancient wisdom, a ritual. It's called Turkish Hamam bath ritual. It is magnificent because it uses a special glove called kisa glove, which you put on, and it is usually after a steam session. Usually a nice ritual goes with that. But even at home, our viewers can do it after a bath or shower when the skin's nice and moist and it is warm, because that's when the skin cells are nice and warm, and moist rather. So then it's good to wear that glove and remove all that dead skin, and literally it comes off like a spaghetti, it rolls off. And that process allows the skin to breathe. All the skin pores are open, right? And the skin's able to breathe and detox efficiently at an optimum level. So that's a big one that I will actually encourage our viewers to get onto, these ancient wisdoms. Apart from the products that we apply, the whole moisturizers and everything else, then of course hydrate the skin, which is excellent. So a good hydration, both internal and external. So drinking enough water to hydrate our cells, drinking enough for our body shape and type, so all our cells are hydrated and looking more like grapes than sultanas. And then there's the hydration, of course, external. Toning is excellent. So rose water is my favorite. People can pick whatever they prefer, what they like. So using a nice toner to really tone the skin and hydrate the skin also externally. Then get on to, applying a nice product, either moisturizer or serum or body oil, to keep it hydrated and nourished. Because by doing that, we are really caring for the skin. We are also eliminating the dry skin, the flaky skin, and we have that luminous, glowing, beautiful skin. And also that whole glowing skin tells us the internals are also healthy as well. One other thing that I would like to tell our viewers though, when it comes to picking your products, try to go certified organic and try to pick products that has less ingredients. And if you find the ingredients are too much for you to understand, then maybe stay away from them. The reason I actually say that, because our cosmetic care products, personal care products, our shampoos can contain products, or ingredients rather, in the products that can go and affect our endocrine system. So endocrine system is like our hormonal system. We want to make sure that the ingredients in those products are not going against the function of the health and well-being, because there could be ingredients in those products that can actually create that xenoestrogenic effect and disrupt the endocrine health.
So, Zara, what would be the best advice for our viewers that you could give?
Absolutely. So I will encourage people to get on to drinking enough water to hydrate their cells. Now, what do I mean by that? That will be a question, I'm sure, and people want to know that. So for every 20 to 25 kilograms of body weight that we hold, we must drink a liter of water so we have sufficient hydration for our cells. So when the cells are hydrated, and that goes for the skin because that's also a cell, it looks plumped, it looks luscious, and it looks luminous and well hydrated, and it is glowing.
So would that be per day?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying? 20 for every 20 kilos, 1 litre?
That is correct. So for example, if you weigh around 60 kilograms, then there is 3 litres of water per day to keep your cells hydrated at all times. So that's a rule of thumb. The other thing will be, of course, getting into steam rooms. Private steam rooms are excellent, helping with the skin, moistening that dead skin cells and allowing the skin pores to open for detoxification and also cleansing of the skin and giving that glowing effect to the skin as well. Light therapies, they work extremely well and work with the integrity of the cellular function by energizing the cells, the mitochondria of the cells, and giving that luminous look, that glowing look, because it is working on repairing and healing the skin cells from within. So they will be the ones that I will actually give our viewers.
Thank you very much. And for more information on Dr. Zara Celik and caring for your skin, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And now we'll go to break, and after the break we'll be back with more amazing interviews. Welcome back, and next we have George Gentilis, somatic psychotherapist, and he's back with this week to talk about shifting out of depression. Welcome back, George, again.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about depression, which is the opposite of anxiety. So last week I talked about the hyper state, the hyper arousal, and this week is the hypo arousal. It's when you lock yourself right down, there's no energy, you feel trapped, and then people feel like, oh, I'm depressed, and you just disappear into your body. So it's the opposite of being out there, out of your body, anxious, and can't calm down. With depression, it's total opposite. If you're feeling depressed and down, it means there's not enough movement. You've got to get more movement, you've got to get more active, and you've got to get that fight response out. So you need dumbbells are good. Going to the gym is the bench press is great. To just really push out all the suppression that somehow you've created in your life. Some event, something has happened in your life, or a combination of events that have just closed you in, and you see no way out, and you're just locked in. And so people, that's the word depression, where things are depressed and really caved in. Of course, there's always a way out, you just haven't found it. So how do you do it? Get out there, fight more. Boxing's good at the gym. Connect with people is important, because they'll break you out of it as well. Connection's huge with depression, because normally you feel alone and like there's no one to talk to, you don't feel like you can go anywhere. TV's not going to help much, well, it's helping now, I guess, watching this, but normally your TV is not a two-way thing, so you really want connection with people. You find people you can connect with, get out, socialise, move, and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, is what most depressed people will say. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're locked in, because the fight response, they just haven't been able to push out all this stuff that's come at you. And again, triggers from the environment that bring up childhood experiences, bring up a trauma, and then you feel trapped and you can't break out. Something happened, we don't have to know what. If it's really bad, it can be a suppression of a lot of pain and grief. If you don't release, especially for men, if we don't cry, the depression builds and builds and builds to the point where it feels like, oh, this is the pain is so great of that grief and that sadness and the hurt that I'd rather kill myself rather than feel it. So just know that's all it is. It's just pain you can't express. Find someone you can ring and talk who will listen to it, or find a therapist, or get it out in the gym.
You mentioned the gym a couple of times, and
Yeah.
does resistance training work as well as that, or something like bashing a pillow, or
Yeah,
you hear people
that's great
talking
too.
about? Is that
Yes.
sort of
Bashing a
another
pillow is
way?
great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it reminded me. That's very good. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you don't have to go to the gym. You can just go to the bedroom, stack up some pillows, and just hit and put sound to it. Really, when you know no one around is going to hear it, really put some sound to that hurt that's there. And as that hurt comes out, and you let yourself cry, if there's the need to cry, that will relieve it. And then normally what will be under that is anger. Anger for the person or the thing that created that suppression and just boxed you in to the point where you just had no option. The other one it's important to do is to breathe in your chest. I talked about last time about breathing in your belly for anxiety because it's too much chest breathing. Depression's the opposite. It's too much belly breathing. You're too in your belly and there's nothing in the chest. It's literally the chest. When I'm looking at people who are depressed, you'll see it. You'll have the shoulders hunched over, the concave chest, and people aren't even breathing in their chest. So just breathing in your chest more makes a big difference. Deep chest, forget your belly. If you're depressed, breathe deeply in your chest and put sound to it, and sure enough, it'll be some pain, and then anger underneath that. And as you express that emotion, the energy flows again, you come alive again. It won't hurt as much, so the suicidal tendencies drop off, and then there's more light at the end of the tunnel again. Very powerful. Another good one to use more of your chest is to sing. Sing in the car, out loud. I'll do it often if I'm feeling a bit flat in my chest. Take some breaths, get in the car, put on music loud, and just sing to your favourite music. And very healing, and just belt it out, because that'll release anger as well. Because when you're angry, you're normally loud. The voice is loud. People who are depressed are normally very softly spoken. Yeah, things are fine today. All is good. It's very softly spoken. You got to get that voice up, and to do that, breathe in your chest, sing in the car, go into the bush or whatever and yell and scream if you have to. Very healthy, and sure there'll be tears maybe with that, maybe pain or grief, but they both need to be released, and very important. You can't, and you won't, and naturally, if people say just cheer up, that's not going to help. That doesn't help. Doesn't help a depressed person to tell them to cheer up. That's the worst thing you can say. There's so much pain there, so much grief. You want to be able to express that first, and someone needs to be there with you to let you express it, and someone will be neutral. And if it's too deep, that's when you go see a therapist, because your friends can't handle the depth of it, because it's going to trigger them, and then they feel the weight of their stuff coming up. So it's best to see a therapist then if it's really strong, or if it's suicidal, or just deep grief where there's so much pain. And it turns into fibromyalgia, comes from that. A lot of autoimmune systems, a lot of pain in the body, muscular pain. It turns into disease if you don't deal with it. So, and cancer's a big one. That we're linking that to people being too nice. If you look at the characteristic of someone who gets cancer, too nice. You got to get angry. You got to fight and get out there and just face on whatever that thing was that depressed you. Even if you don't know what it is, something's there. Again, mostly from childhood, probably. You got to hit it, fight it, get sound out. Swear if you have to, if there's no one around, and then the energy flows again, and you're breathing back in your chest. Your shoulders can then drop again, chest can come out again, and your posture will improve, and away you go. So very important. Singing is just brilliant. I take singing lessons frequently, and it's a great personal growth thing to do. Just to get that voice out. So if you want joy, if you want to cheer up, you actually have to feel your pain. And if we look at the emotional states, the duality of emotions, There's three basic emotions. The way I've been trained over the years is the ones that we block is fear, anger and pain. So if you want to feel joy, you have to feel your pain. They're the opposite side of the same coin. Unless you feel your sadness and your pain, you're not going to feel happy. So just know that. If you want peace in your head, peace of mind, to feel safe in the world, you have to express the fear. You can't go around trying to make yourself feel safe when all this fear's there. You have to accept it. And we talked about that at length last time. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Thank you. And George will be back with us again. And next time he's talking about spirituality and being present. And for more on George and shifting out of depression, then please go to our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Welcome back. Now we have Robin O'Connell, our funeral celebrant, and talking to us today about supporting families through pregnancy and loss. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
And Robin, may I ask you, what led you to be interested in this subject?
So my daughter died 40 years ago. She was nearly 10 months old, and I found that people just didn't know what to do with me. They'd cross the street rather than talk to me. They'd avoid talking about her, or I'd become the supporting person and support them when I told them the bad news. So it led me to a path of grief education, and then finally a funeral celebrant 17 years ago.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And then, so what would be we hear the term stillbirth and miscarriage. What would be the correct term to use?
So it depends how far the gestation is. So under 20 weeks is classed as a miscarriage, and over 20 weeks is classed as a stillbirth. And the reason for that is that over 20 weeks the birth is registered. They can either go for a funeral or a burial or just have a direct cremation, but something must be done with the baby at that point in time. And there's lots of support out there. There's a foundation now that will help families that are in crisis, because we're not expecting a baby to die. So often families can be left unaware with that as well. So there is support around for families who have any sort of pregnancy loss. But I think one of the main things is that people don't know how to handle people when they've had a pregnancy loss. And we have that, what they call, that 12-week rule, where families are said, don't tell anyone till you're 3 months, and that way then, you don't kind of like if anything goes wrong. But in actual fact, those parents need support. If they've been longing for that baby and they're 2 months pregnant, they want to tell the world. And there's this big thing about, oh no, wait till 3 months because you never know what happens. 1 in 4 pregnancies in Australia ends. So it's common. And when people have experienced it and they start telling people about it, they suddenly find that there are all these other people who've had that experience but never said anything. They've never shared that experience because it wasn't talked about. And we need to start the conversation. And lots of people are trying to do that. You might have noticed on October the 15th, this year and in a few previous years, there are pink and blue things that go up on buildings. So in different states, there were different buildings all over Australia that were lit up in pink and blue for Pregnancy Infant Loss Day, which is an international day. For people to feel free that even if they're only 6 weeks pregnant, that they can share that joy with others, even if it doesn't go right. Because at least then they're acknowledged that, people are reluctant to even say, oh, I actually had a miscarriage at 6 weeks, but it was only 6 weeks. But to them, that was a baby. I know a family who had 11 pregnancy losses, and every one of those pregnancies, no matter how soon, as soon as they got those 2 little lines, as soon as they got those lines, they wanted to shout it to the world, because it's important to them that their babies are recognised.
Well, for both parents, I suppose, particularly women with the hormones racing, that's a loss no matter what goes on, and then the men would be feeling it as supporters of the.
And I think that's where we let them down all the time, because we always say, so how's the wife doing? And we don't say, how are you doing? how do you feel about this? It was your baby too. But they think because the wife is the one who is pregnant, that that's the one who's going to be feeling it more. And two people decide to have a baby. And it's really important that dads are recognised as well.
And I suppose in same-sex marriages, it plays out as well. There's the other partner is still feeling that.
Yes. Yes, and it's, you know, people don't go off and say, oh, I think I'll have a baby and I'll go home and tell my husband tomorrow. You know, they talk about it, they plan, they have dreams, they have hopes for that baby, and those dreams and hopes are shattered. So we need to do more as a society to be able to say, you know, it's okay to talk about it. You know, if you know the day that the baby was born, you know, remember it, put it in your diary for next year. Give the person a call and say, hey, how are you doing today? I know today was the day that Noah was born. You know, it's real, those little things mean so much. And often we're thinking them. You know, so I met up with a family member who I hadn't seen for many, many years. And she put her hand on me and she said, you know, I think of you every 7th of August, which would have been Rebecca's birthday. And I thought, that's fantastic, but I would have loved to have known that you did that. I only found out like 20 years later that every year she thinks of her, and that would have meant so much to me.
Oh, absolutely. So then, what would you say is a take-home message for our viewers to know how they can support others?
Oh, the most important thing is you are not alone. And I think that's the hardest part, is that isolation of thinking you're so alone, it's only you, maybe 40 of your closest family that are affected by a pregnancy loss or an infant loss. And it's not a very broad spectrum of people. And people hear about it. You know, might mention it to somebody that you work with and they'll go, oh, that's sad. But it's a fleeting thought. And then they go on with their lives where your life has been irreversibly changed.
Those people don't know how to have the discussion, really, do they?
No, and we need to be more comfortable with having that discussion. We need to ask the questions of, you know, what were you looking forward to? What were the things that you wanted to happen? So they get a chance to voice them because they've been in their head.
And Robin, what would be some tips for our viewers from today?
Remember them at Christmas. So have a candle on the table. Do something like that. Remember them on birthdays. Give people a call. Just be able to be with them and let them talk and say, how do you feel? And then say, but how do you really feel? Because we will naturally say, I'm okay. But just ask how they really feel. And you might just be surprised at their answer. Don't worry if it brings tears. The tears were there anyway. All you've done is to help release them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just for any more information on pregnancy and loss and supporting those people experiencing that, then please go to our website healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au and there'll be more information on Robin. And for now we'll say bye-bye and we'll see you back here next week.